As parents, we know the importance of talking to your kids about sex, but how about shifting that conversation to talking about sexual material your kids might see online? Soraya Lakhani of Yellow Kite Psychology joins us to talk more about that. I'm thinking sexting. I'm thinking things that our kids would come across inadvertently online.
Right.
Kind of shifts the conversation that used to be sit down with your junior high kids and have the talk.
Right.
It shifts the conversation to earlier, more age appropriate, and really protecting yourself online.
Absolutely. So I think the first thing to note is that a lot of parents set filters for their kids, when they're surfing the internet, and that's a really important proactive step. But the reality is that parents cannot control everything that their kids come into contact with online. The internet is a very complicated information highway, and even very innocuous, search terms can lead kids
You
into
can
contact.
find yourself somewhere where you did not expect to be.
Exactly, yeah. So parents really need to be mindful of that and how they can prepare themselves and their kids for those conversations. So one of the first things that parents need to think about is for very young kids. So let's say we're talking about a child under the age of 10, because we know now that kids are coming into contact with pornography at the ages of 7 and 8 even. So parents need to do whatever they can to create that safe space and let their kids know, hey, you know what, you might sometimes come into contact with stuff that's confusing to you, and if that happens, you're not in trouble, but I can help you in those situations. Just come to me and don't worry about me. I've already seen everything there is to see. I just want you to come to me so that I can help you with that.
The key being you're not in trouble.
Exactly.
Come to me and I can help you.
Exactly.
Okay.
So it's not a punitive approach. It gives kids an action plan so that they know what to do if they come into contact with something confusing or inappropriate online. And it also lets them know that they can talk to their parents safely. And that's a really important precedent to set in general for parent-child conversation.
Oh, and for the sex conversations you're going to continue to have with them as well.
Exactly.
That they can talk freely is key.
For sure. And I think historically parents have had the talk with their kids when their kids are around 13, 14 years old. But what we're seeing now is that kids around the ages of 11 and 12 are starting to regularly access pornography for their own sexual information and exploration. And while it's very typical for kids around the age of 12 to start exploring that, we don't want pornography to become, the core source of information that they have around sexual intimacy, because the truth is that pornography really does not depict healthy and real sexual intimacy and emotional intimacy, and it provides very problematic portrayals of concepts like consent and respect, and so it can leave kids with a very distorted understanding of sexual intimacy and give them very unrealistic expectations for sexual partners that they may have later in life.
So you want the information to come from you. You want to give your child a safe space. I love that safe space. If you get somewhere you don't understand, come to me and I can help you through it. And you want to start conversations younger than before, at age-appropriate information.
Age-appropriate, but I think now instead of talking to your kids when they're 14, it might look like talking to your kids when they're around the age of 12. Okay. And parents also need to address technology in those conversations, because the reality is that's what's out there, and people have access to it. So parents need to address pornography and those graphic images when they're talking to their kids about sex, and let them know that, what you're seeing isn't real. It's not healthy. It's not what real kind of sexual connection and intimacy looks like.
Okay, excellent information. A good game plan going forward. Thank you so much for sharing with us. Soraya is a regular contributor to Calgary's Child magazine, which is found on stands around Calgary. Like them on Facebook, follow them on Twitter. And your website, Soraya?
Yellowkite.ca.
Yellowkite.ca. She's got some tips on there for you as well. We're back with news, bottom of the hour.